Morning. Whether the slide is visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
So today we will discuss about biosecurity measures that should be taken in poultry farm. We have already discussed about the common diseases in the poultry, and today we will just what are the preventive measures. So all of you know the term biosecurity because we have discussed in cattle also. So here the biosecurity measures more or less remains the same. Some things are same for all the species, but there are some like vaccination and all, which also comes under biosecurity, and that is different for poultry. Okay, usually biosecurity. Um, Let us see what is the terminology. So it means protection against infectious biological agents. And whenever you are thinking about poultry, since the poultry they are very small, and even a slight change of anything, okay, if the birds are not healthy you may not see that the birds may not show any symptoms, but from internally if they are not good, then the production of the birds will be affected. For example, if you have the layers, so first sign that you are going to see is that there will be a drop in egg production, and along with that the feed consumption of the birds will go down. Okay, so those are the two very common symptoms in case of egg production. In case of broilers or in case of meat birds, there will be a drop in the feed consumption. So that is the early sign, and other behavioral signs are also there. You have to maintain the flock and the poultry house in such a way that the infectious agents do not have a chance to enter to cause the diseases. So that is why it is very important to take care of the flock, and you have to follow all the hygienic and sanitation practices in order to keep these infectious agents away. So why it is important, why we have to go for these biosecurity measures. Now, in case of the local indigenous birds or in case of backyard farming, um, in case of backyard farming, the farmers they don't have to worry about all these disease about the diseases, because the local birds they are very resistant to diseases, and moreover only 5-6 birds will be there. They used to get all the vitamins and all that is required for their health, for their growth, because they will, under the range system of management, they will pick whatever is this required. They will pick the worms, they will pick so many things will be there, and they usually get the requirement from all those things. But nowadays when the intensification has taken place, I usually give you time for admitting, 10 minutes time. In between it becomes very difficult. All of you just try to admit within that 10 minutes, okay? Then coming to the this nowadays, in today's world, since lots of intensification has taken place, we are keeping as a farming business, we are keeping lots of birds together, like we are giving them space of 1 square feet per bird in case of broiler, or 2 square feet per bird in case of layer. They are the commercial ones which has been crossed with different breeds, and a strain has been developed. And these strains, or the commercial birds, they are very sensitive to diseases, and any change in the environmental conditions, they will come under stress. And moreover, thousand numbers of birds will be kept in an area. Suppose you may have 1,000, 2,000 numbers of birds in a batch. So when lots of numbers of birds are there, they cannot go outside. If under the rain system of management, they will get sufficient vitamin D, and their bones and all will be very strong. But when you are giving less space, lots of birds are there in a limited space, and then they do not have lots of exercise also, and so they do not have direct sunlight, so they are always inside, so they are more prone to diseases. For us also, no, if we sit at home, just go on eating and without any exercise and all, we will be more prone to diseases. Similar is the case with all these and the commercial ones. So, broiler and layer operations around the world require the supply of breeding stock free of salmonella. So already we have discussed the salmonellosis. They usually are transmitted through the egg. So whenever we have a salmonella-free flock, if we can get chicks from a salmonella-free flock, then the salmonellosis, different types of diseases we can prevent in the farm. And even these salmonella species, they could cause outbreaks of human foodborne illnesses also, since it is communicable to the humans. Inadequate biosecurity can contribute to wide epidemics of highly pathogenic or exotic diseases. So that is why the importance and biosecurity measures are very important, that you have to follow in the poultry farm. Now, before going into what are the biosecurity measures, we have to, all of you are hearing, no? My voice is audible? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you have to know what are the different sources or reservoirs of infection that may occur in the farm. If you are aware of the reservoirs, and then you can always go for prevention. First is the people. Okay, people, they are the carriers of diseases, the employees, the service representatives, the truck drivers, vaccination crews, the veterinarians, whoever may be, whoever entering into the farm, they may bring in the diseases. Okay, different types of diseases, so we have to be very much careful. So how we are going to do it, we will discuss in the following slides. So first, your target should be the people, okay, who are coming. Next is the new poultry chicks that you are bringing into your farm. It may be adult ones, it may be chicks, it may be pullets, it may be breeding males, it may be semen also. Okay, so whenever you are going to bring in new things, new like genes, okay, or new birds into your farm, you have to be very much careful. You have to keep them separately. So what we are going to do, we will discuss, but to now, for this slide, you just remember what are the things from where we have to be very much careful. And thirdly is the previously contaminated and improperly cleaned premises or equipment. Suppose you are rearing broilers, one batch you have sold out, and in that you are bringing in new chicks, and you are keeping in without disinfection of the room or without disinfecting the litter material and all. Okay, so previously, suppose the birds, when you are rearing it, some coccidiosis might have occurred or E. coli infection might have occurred, and well, you are disposing the birds, and without going for disinfection and changing of the litter material and all, you are keeping the new birds. Okay, so that those types of things should be avoided. So previously contaminated and improperly cleaned premises or equipment may be the source of infection. And fourthly, which is very important, that is the vectors. Any rodents like rats, your house should be rat proof. Rats should not enter into the house. Any holes in the house, any holes in the house, you have to repair it. Any wild birds entering, small birds may enter into the farm. For that you have to have a netting, so those things should be avoided. Any insects, wind or water, because any airborne diseases might come through the air, and water is very important. What type of water you are giving to the birds are very important. So if you remember these four ways how the disease may come into your farm, you can always go for the prevention of the diseases. So four things very important. First is the people who are entering into the farm, who is working into the farm. You have to be very much careful. Secondly, any type of birds you are bringing into your farm, whether it is chicks, whether it is pullets, whether it is breeding males, or whether it is a semen. Okay, whatever you are bringing, it has to be disease free, and any contaminated premises or the equipments like feeders, waterers, brooders, everything, if it has been contaminated, then you have to clean it up. And fourthly are the vectors, which we may take so many precautions, but we will not know. Wild birds or small birds are entering into the farm, we will not know, they may also may carry the diseases. So these four things, it is very important for you to remember from where the infection may come into the farm. Is it okay? So next we will go for what are the different considerations that you should keep in mind. The house should be located 1 to 3 kilometers away from other commercial or private facilities. So wherever you are having a farm, that should be away uh, from the any residential area or any commercial area like industry or some commercial complexes will be there, so it should be slightly away, but it should not be that away also so that it creates a problem in coming and going. Okay, so that thing you have to take care. The farm should not be located adjacent to a public road. Okay, the main road, you should avoid having the farm just adjacent to the main road, but roads, the farm should have accessibility to roads. Okay, so the main like highway or thing, those farms should not be nearby the highways or the main roads. Then thirdly is that the houses should have a good drainage system. Why drainage is important? It should have the water should not, there should not be waterlogging, should be avoided in a farm. So that is why you have to be very much careful. Whenever water logging is there, then lots of insects will come. Then flies and all will be there. They will lay the eggs there, and the infection may occur. And also, whenever water logging is there, then water may enter into the houses because of less drainage. The inside of the house may the moisture content will be high. The farm area should be fenced. You should have a fencing so that predators are not going to enter into the farm. The houses should have a concrete floor to prevent rodents from burrowing into the house. So that is very important. Always the floor should be made of concrete. Not only that rodents will burrow into the house, also a concrete floor is easier to keep it clean. You can easily clean the a concrete floor with water. You can do scrubbing. You can also put lime, whitewash it with lime. So concrete floor is very much important. But whenever you are having a concrete floor, if there is any holes or cracks, then you have to repair it immediately. So these are some of the things which you already know, but like some things you may have to add. Okay. Clear and level the area around all houses so that vegetation can be cut quickly and easily. Lots of vegetation should not be there surrounding the house. What type of vegetation should you grow surrounding the house? If you are having vegetation, bushes and weeds should be avoided surrounding the house. Okay, if you have tall trees, that is not a problem. It will provide the shade, but bushes and all should not be there surrounding the area because they absorb lots of moisture, water, and also the sunlight cannot go into the land. Okay, so you have to be very much careful that the surrounding the area, it should be always free from the vegetation so that lots of sunlight will fall in the surrounding so that it remains dry and moisture is not going, and there is not seepage of um, this one water into the house. So that is very important. The water supply be chlorinated at a level of 2 ppm. Not only chlorination, you can give any type of sanitizer in the water if you feel that if you are using the stream water. Like in Mizoram, we usually use the stream water, particularly during the rainy season. E. coli infection may be there. So fowl cholera. So these are the diseases which may come through via the water. So we can go for sanitization of the water. Any sanitizer we can use, or we can give chlorinated water in the bleaching powder also we can use. But we have to use it judiciously so that the smell of the chlorine doesn't come, and the birds usually they will not eat. And moreover, if more chlorine is there in the water, it may also affect their intestines. Okay, so the water supply be chlorinated at a level of 2 parts per million. That way you can add. Proper treatment and disposal of waste is another point. When whatever disposal is there, don't throw it here and there. It should not be thrown, and it should be you have to have a pit, or you have to have a burial space so that you are going to put it there. And on from time to time, like weekly or twice in a week, you have to go for treatment of the waste, and either by burial or composting. So different ways will be there. So in that way you have to dispose the waste properly. Farm should be provided with an adequately equipped change room having shower facility for farm personnel and visitors. That is not there in like in our farms and all, but of course we have a changing room is there. So that is very much essential because people are the ones who used to carry the diseases either through their mainly through their shoes. Okay, and that is the way of carrying the diseases. And designing a farm premise including a one-way traffic route. It should always be a one-way traffic route. That means if you are going via one side, then the other side you can come out. For example, suppose you are having a hatchery. Okay, you are having a hatchery, and when you are entering the hatchery or when the buildings are there, and the first room should be the office room, and after that the egg storage room, and after that the disinfection room, and after that you are going to put the incubator, and then you are going to have the hatching and the chick hatching room or sexing room, and then you will have the chick disposal room. It is not that you are going to have the egg collection room first and then you will have the office room. It should not be in that way. Okay, it should be there should be a system so that less and lesser number of people will enter into the this one in will enter into the incubation room, and it should have one way traffic. Whatever the waste will come out, suppose if we are having the hatching room, and after that if you are going to have a egg storage room, that is will not work, because the hatching room will be having some infection, because hatching will take place, and then that room will not be a clean room. Okay, and after that you are going to have a egg room. So this is not the way. Okay, so you should go from a clean to the dirty, and in between, and the haphazard way of designing is not good. So designing of the farm premise is a very important part for the as a biosecurity measures. Are you hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
Next is the air intake of one poultry house should be located away from the outflow vents of other houses. That is why we always maintain a distance between the different types of houses. Okay, so the outlet or the air outlet from a house should not enter into another house. So that is the that is the point that should be kept in mind. Minimize the number of visitors to the poultry farm. Already I told you that people are the way. So just somebody wants to enter, they are entering. That should not be the case. Number of visitors should be avoided into the farm. And if at all they are going to enter, they should wash and sanitize their hands and boots. Okay, they should change their boots, or they should dip their boots and a sanitizer or a disinfectant solution, then only they are going to enter. If personnel has to visit more than one farm per day, they should visit the youngest flocks first and the diseased farms last. So youngest one, they should and they should visit first. Similarly is the case for the attendant also, who is feeding. Suppose one attendant is feeding all the birds, the he should enter into the shed first, then feed them, and then go to the other. Okay, not the vice versa, because the young ones, they are very delicate and they are less resistant to diseases than the older birds. So the older birds as well as the diseased birds should be taken care of at the last. Okay, should be given feed and all at the last. Or else if you have only one worker to take care of them, then they can do it at the first also. Maintain a record of visitors. Always you should have a record of the visitors, and visitors must wash and sanitize their hands and boots. So these are the few of the points. You can add many more points, okay? But these are very common ones that you should remember. So one point I told you, that whenever you are going to bring in the new chicks to your farm, you have to prepare the farm in a proper way. So, or if there is any contamination of if there is any transmission of diseases, or if there is any occurrence of diseases in your poultry shed, then you have to take care of them in a proper way. So how you are going to decontaminate the poultry house? Suppose mm, there is an outbreak of disease into your farm. So what are the things that you should do? First is the removal of the bird. That is very important. Remove Sir, what happened? You are joining only now? No network? He's not hearing, I think. Remove all the dead birds from the building, including the birds which run outside. Immediately begin vector control procedures during the bird removal. First of all, you have to remove all the birds from your from the room or
Yes,
from the
ma'am.
shed,
There is
and
no
then
network, ma'am.
okay, okay then.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, yes, okay, no problem. Just carry on. And then immediately we have to, after removing the bird and the litter material, we have to see whether there is any hole or there is the whether the net is proper or not, whether there is any hole in the net. So we have to take care of all this so that from outside nothing can come inside the house. And next is the cleaning of the farm. After removing of the bird and the litter material, how you are going to clean it? First, you have to turn off the power of electrical equipments prior to cleaning. Then you have to brush, sweep, and wipe dust and other dirt from the ceilings, walls, fans, etc. Move from top to bottom, okay? And then remove the feeds from the troughs, completely remove the litter materials, and then you have to go for wet cleaning of the floor. It includes soaking, washing, and rinsing steps. Use of hot water is preferred. So you can do all these things while cleaning the floor. Detergent be added to washing solution to loosen debris and films and allow better penetration of cleaning agents. So these are the things that you can use. First, what you are going to do, remove the bird. Okay, remove the birds, and then you can go for dusting and all, and remove all the equipments from the room. And then after doing dusting and all, you have to remove the litter material. After removing the litter material, you have to go for cleaning of the floor. Okay, you can do dry cleaning first and then followed by the wet cleaning, or any type of disinfectant can be used. And then another after that, you have to go for, finally you have to go for fumigation. With the help of potassium permanganate and formaldehyde, gas will be formed. So I think in the subsequent slide I may be having what is fumigation. So lastly, you have to go for fumigation. Then daily sanitation practices, what are the things that you should go for it? The most acceptable, the most important one is the disposal of the poultry waste. Okay, whatever like waste feeds will be there, and then litter materials will be there, so many things will be there. So how you are going to do it? You can use incinerators. Incinerators are the equipments where you can put the things, and you put on the switch, and the waste materials will be burnt into ashes. Okay, so these are the not ashes, it will be burned completely. So incinerators. Then you can also have a disposal pit where you can dispose the things regularly, and after that you can transfer that to a composting pit. So in the composting pit also you can go on adding. How you are going to do it? You add the poultry waste, and then put some vegetable waste, and then again a layer of poultry waste, and then you keep it covered for at least 6 to 8 weeks, and that will become a very good compost that you can use it as a fertilizer. But here you cannot give all those plastics, and all cannot be added. Okay, so these are the three ways how you are going to dispose the poultry waste. Poultry disposal of poultry waste is a very important factor, because if you are going to just throw it near your shed, what will happen? Flies and all will come, and flies are the vectors. Okay, they will carry the diseases. So, and moreover, if lots of smell is there, then always it will attract the flies. So that one you have to be very much careful. So this is regarding the poultry farm, and then next is the hatchery. Hatcheries are another important part. What are the biosecurity measures that you're going to take? Only egg collection and chick delivery trucks should be permitted to enter after cleaning and disinfection. Workers and visitors should park outside the fence. All egg collection and chick delivery vehicles should be fumigated daily. Setters and hatchers should be cleaned and disinfected after each use. Now, what is this setters and hatchers? Now, in case of, all of you know what is an incubator. All of you have seen incubator? Okay, so in an incubator, we may have the incubator combined, where on top we used to keep the eggs in trays, okay, in trays where rotation will be there. So those, it is known as setter, and below we used to have the baskets where we after say for in case of chicken egg, the incubation period is 21 days. 17 days we are keeping it on the tray above, where rotation and all will be there, and after that we used to transfer the eggs to the baskets where the chicks they used to hatch out. Okay, that is known as hatcher, that is known as the hatching tray. So in one equipment we will have the setting as well as the hatching facility, but there are some equipments like big ones like 10,000, 5,000 capacity, where only the trays will be there where you are going to keep the eggs, and only the trays for keeping setting the eggs will be there where you are going to keep the eggs for 17 days, and that is known as setters. Okay, and another equipment will be there where you are going to have the space for keeping the baskets. Okay, baskets means you are going to have some in the edges you are going to have like file trays, it will be there, and where you are going to put the eggs and they will be hatching out. Okay, and because in case of setter we are having only like in the fridge and all where we used to keep the eggs, it is like that holes will be there. Once the chicks hatch out, they will fall onto the ground. So that is why in case of the hatching facility we have the trees with the edges, so that the chicks after hatching out they do not fall down. Okay, so you may have the setters and hatchers separately, or in one equipment you may have the setting as well as the hatching facility. So those should be cleaned and disinfected after every use. It is not that like you feel lazy to go for cleaning and disinfection. You should do it because hatchers, you have to do it, because after hatching it becomes really dirty, and you all the wastes will be there because shells and all will be there, some dead embryos will be there, so you have to clean the hatcher and disinfect after every use. So this is regarding hatching. Feed is another important cause of the infection in disease into your farm. Feed is well-known source of salmonella, other bacteria, and mycotoxins. So salmonella may also be transmitted through feed, and then the other thing is that the mycotoxins, okay, whether it is especially the aflatoxicosis, if the feed is not proper, moldy feeds are there, then they will develop the toxins, and if you're going to feed this type of feeds for longer period to the birds, then they will show the symptoms like aflatoxicosis, or their liver will be affected and their production will also go down. The design of the feed mill should have separate ingredient side and the finished feed side, that is there. Entry of rodents also into the feed mill should be avoided, and animal byproducts such as fish meal, meat cum bone meal be stored in separate bins, and it should be fresh, and spilled feed should not be allowed in and around the poultry house, as already I told you. Okay, so regarding the feed, these are the things you have to take care. Now suggested vaccination program, that is the prevention, it is coming under the prevention. Even after doing all these things, so viral diseases you cannot prevent it, so you have to go for vaccination programs. So for the layers, y- all of you know all these we have already discussed. That is why I have discussed the diseases first. Biosecurity should come first, and then what are the diseases. But for you to know what are the diseases, that's why I have discussed the diseases first. Okay, and then but in reality it is not the diseases first, it is the biosecurity measures which comes first. You will try to prevent the occurrence of diseases into your farm. Okay, but 100% you cannot save it, as particularly from the viral diseases. So these are the viral diseases against which the vaccination has to be done. So for the layers, since you are going to keep the layers for 72 weeks or even 2 years or 3 years, so we have to go for a longer vaccination schedule. On day one, Marek's disease, all of you know, herpes virus of Turkey, and that is you are going to give subcutaneously. 5 to 7 days, it is the Newcastle disease, all of you know, Ranicate. You are going to give by nasal, oral, or drinking water. These are all the strains, different types of strains that are available in the market. 14 to 15 days, that is the IBD or infectious bursal disease. You will give, or it is also known as Gumboro disease, oral drop or in drinking water. Fourth to fifth week, you are going to give fowl pox and intramuscularly. Now, this fowl pox you are going to give only in those farms where pox is available or pox is prevalent. Otherwise, you are not going to give it. Fifth to seventh week, but this IBD, Newcastle, Marex, these are you have to give, whether it is prevalent in your farm or not, you have to give it. Fifth to seventh week, you are going to give the Ranicate disease, Newcastle disease vaccine, and this time you are going to give the Mukteshwar strain, that is the R2B Mukteshwar strain, and you have to give intramuscularly. 7 to 8 week, you have to give the booster dose of Gumboro or infectious bursal disease. 13 to 15 week, you are going to give infectious bronchitis. This is also not compulsory. You can give if it is prevalent by oral drop or in drinking water. 14 to 15 week, you are going to give the booster dose of foulpox intramuscularly. 16 to 18 week, you are going to give again the Mukteshwar strain vaccine, that is through intramuscular. Now, before the birds start laying, you have to complete the vaccination program. Okay, after that, the birds are usually safe against all these diseases because you are going to give the booster dose and all. But from time to time, since the Newcastle disease or Ranicate disease vaccine and Ranicate disease is very much prevalent and it causes 100% mortality to the birds. So from time to time, even if you have completed the vaccination schedule before the laying stage, during the laying stage also, you can give this Lasota strain, that is you can give in drinking water from time to time. Like in 2 months time, you can give once in the drinking water this Lasota. Even if you don't give, no problem, because the vaccination schedule is complete. But what we have seen is that sometimes it is always better because this is the least costly ones. 100 dose, it costs only 30 rupees. So we can just give them in the drinking water once in 2 months or once in 3 months, and the birds will be completely safe. Okay, so this is in case of layers, layer breeders, or in case of layers. Okay. Next, the vaccination schedule in case of broiler breeders, it is more or less same like that of the layers only, because the broiler breeders usually we follow the same vaccination schedule. It is for the breeders, okay? For the broilers, that is commercial broilers that you are going to keep it for for 6 to 8 weeks, only we are giving up to this one. The first three vaccine we are giving, and sometimes we may give the Newcastle disease again at 30 days, which we have already discussed. Okay, so in case of commercial broilers, we don't have to go for fowl pox. In fact, this R2B Mukteshwar strain and all, we will give only the Lasota strain And in case of infectious bursal disease, the intermediate strain, and only these three vaccines, but in reality, in the farm condition, only these two vaccines will be given, and then we can wind up. But if you are going to keep the broiler breeders, that means you are producing the eggs, and then you are hatching out, and then you are supplying the chicks. In that case, like the layers, you have to go for the full vaccination. Okay. So we'll stop here today. What are the biosecurity measures? You just go through it. So,
Okay,
okay.
ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank you,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am.